lot of the people younger than us don't have connection with their parents anymore because they're toxic and they were what's it called, defood or whatever.
Yeah, it's like you have you have parents now that they're not being seen as not necessarily authority figures, but they're not being seen as a place where to find wisdom.
Right. And I think the biggest thing is the women. You know, everyone says how narcissistic their mom was. Your mom, my mom, other people's moms. You've heard their stories how narcissistic they are, and even their older sibling who is a sister, right?
Yeah.
Female also completely narcissistic
and toxic.
Toxic, very toxic.
And so they come from toxic families. And where does all this what happened in our society that made them this toxic?
Mm-hmm. And I mentioned that families being separation of families. We started talking about not just the nuclear family, but also extended family. Like we get married, have our kids, but then we have work somewhere else. We move,
right.
And then
our
kids' grandparents are in another place. Everyone's kind of separated.
Well, my question was, what happened? What happened to cause all this toxicity in families? And what I pointed to, and this is a conversation that we were having just earlier, is I pointed to look at all the 80s teen movies. Look at what the parents portrayed in those teen movies.
Yeah.
Because those movies are kind of a window into the culture of
Absolutely.
the day,
yes.
Right? And that's why it makes them relevant and popular, is because there's truth in that.
Correct.
So the parents, if they're ever shown, are seen as like distant, are disconnected, are buffoonish.
Exactly.
And so what was one of the main complaints in the movies?
Yeah, my parents aren't there. The parents are too busy working. They're not interested in what I'm doing.
Right. And so the peer bonding happens laterally, and there's no bonding with the parents.
Correct.
And you have a situation where the rites of passage become a breakfast club.
Exactly. It's your status among your peers that matters most.
Yes. And so you have even with the best parent in the movie, The Breakfast Club.
Yep.
Okay, Claire, supposedly it came from a wealthy family, and she had this fantastic lunch, and she was well dressed, well taken care of, and so she was ridiculed by the character that was played. The
criminal.
Yeah.
Jed. Yeah.
What's his name?
It doesn't matter. He was the criminal.
Yeah.
The character that played the criminal.
So he making fun of her.
Yeah.
Until she broke down and said, "They don't understand me."
Yeah, they're wealthy, but they're always the parents are always fighting with each other.
Right.
Probably the brink of divorce, right?
So what caused those parents to be disconnected? And what brought it forward to today?
Correct.
With not just the children, those children who grew up, the Claire and the jock and all of them.
Yeah.
But their children, because their children now are in their 20s and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, because that was my generation, the Breakfast Club Generation X.
And that it's Generation X. I'm in the youngest part of Generation X.
Yes, you're the very tail end of Gen X.
Yeah.
So So these people have children, and they're in the 20s.
That's true. Some of them
So
do, yeah.
so they're becoming parents the first time. So this toxicity has carried forward as it would. And so what happened in society during the 70s and 80s to cause this type of problem? Well, number one, no fault divorce came in, right? And yet you could argue, like you did, that, well, our parents are still together, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, it didn't seem like it would affect them.
Exactly.
Well, it does. Because you don't have to have in society all the children, all the kids be divorced to have the lessons from one set of parents, one set of children, affect the children, their peers, right?
Yeah.
So the attitudes of your classmates who parents are divorced, those attitudes and things will carry laterally and affect them.
Exactly. It's the influence that they bring in.
So, is there other things? And that's the question I have to other people. Is there other things that happen in our society that cause this dysfunction, where you see now
Very narcissistic women.
incredibly narcissistic women, and to the point where the men
don't want to approach that.
Well, there's two classes. There's the men who don't want to approach it, and but they're still trying to find. But then there's others that they've embraced something like some effeminacy, right? That is hallmarked by complete liberalism. So what's going on with that? Why? It's like low testosterone men, and then the remnants of men who don't want to even mess with women anymore because they've been riding the cop carousel. They have always help me out here. They're complete narcissistic. They have no what am I trying to say?
I don't know. I'm trying. Are you talking about the women or the men?
The men. The women.
Well, the women they're not aware of their own narcissism. They're completely. It's all subconscious at that point. So it's hard to break it unless they do the work to be self-aware about it. There's a lot of these, what would I want to call it? Things that I see every now and then, how they portray themselves, everything's about them. It's not about their kid or their husband, it's about them.
Even with some of the homeschool community that we meet, you'll have a young mother, and the mother is posting things about their child, right? About some sort of thing.
Some event that their child was a part of.
But somehow they make it about them.
Exactly. But the thing is, they're not young. They're my age.
And so
it's kind of like, okay, that's something wrong there. It's not about you. It's about your kid.
And so and also they'll take their own desire for the victim narrative.
Oh yeah, they're always in the victim mode.
And
yes.
so it's not like, somebody says, well, my child is having this problem reading or something like this.
Difficulty, yes.
And so there's 5 or 6 women who jump on and says, well, did you take him to the doctor and get him on this medication? And he probably has this dysfunction and this. And it's like there's a whole plethora of ways that a woman can get this victim vicariously through their children.
Yeah.
And so that's, and it's like the boys.
It's like they say, there's no other way. You have to seek other help, as opposed to say, I'm going to find out how I am going to take the reins and help my son succeed.
Of course.
You know, I don't need to have all these people giving me all their advice and opinions on what I should do. I'm going to take that upon myself, do the research, right? Become an expert myself. That's the thing, is you should be becoming an expert yourself. Not having to vet out all these people. Oh, who am I going to see as an expert? Let me choose. I'm going to choose this person. Oh, that didn't work out. I guess this person didn't know what they were doing. I'm going to find another expert. It's like you should be your own expert.
How about asking your son what he thinks?
Exactly. I don't know how many times that I've actually told them, you need to ask your child what they want to learn, what they're excited about, what did they like about it, yeah, how they feel about it.
My son is depressed. What doctor should I go to?
No, you hear them complaining about, this is so stressful.
Oh yeah.
I can't really get this curriculum going for my kid or whatever. It's like things are not going right for me, and I have to do all this additional work now.
Oh yeah, it's always about how hard
there's something needs to be done, so I don't have to go through all that.
Does anyone have anything easier to do?
Exactly.
Wait a minute. You're at home and you're homeschooling. You're at home homeschooling. You're the people that you supposedly love.
Yeah.
Where's the joy in that? It's not. It's a burden.
No. So they're dysfunctional. Is basically where we're coming. They're so dysfunctional. They need self-work. They need to get out of that hole they're in, that mindset that they're in, and you know, get a grip on things. And say, I need to become a more patient person. I need to love what I'm doing, because this is an honor to shape this little person's mind and help this person grow up into a formidable adult, right?
How many women out there would see this task of homeschooling and being a mother and stuff like this as an honor, an adventure into not just seeing how children grow up and learn, but also for them themselves a journey of self-discovery, to rediscover their own childhood.
Exactly.
Through somebody who's not being abused.
Yep.
That's their opportunity.
Exactly.
Okay? And so this is an amazing thing that people are missing, that women are missing as mothers. But instead, they're refeeding that abuse in themselves.
Exactly. They have to break that cycle. That's basically what they need to break, that cycle.
And so what they tell men, they say, men, you need to man up and do this other stuff. Mm-hmm. I think these women need to kind of woman up.
They do. They like we said in our other video, their lack of agency. They haven't matured enough.
Right. They're a case of arrested development.
They're stuck maybe in a high school mode.
Oh, even worse. Because think about this. A toddler if you view them, if a toddler stopped their development as a toddler and then they were an adult, they would be considered extremely narcissistic. Mm-hmm. Okay? As a toddler is a toddler, and they have an undeveloped brain and thinking, and so they say, I want this and I want this, and
I want it now,
and I want it now, and I don't want this.
There's no negotiation.
That's right, and so they don't understand that how the world works yet.
Exactly.
Okay, and so but you take that. So it's not just they're not stopped at high school. If they were, we could work with them.
Exactly.
But these people have arrested these women have arrested their development out of being a toddler.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I always think that the role of a mother is so important. It's like pinnacle, the quality of who you are is gonna decide how well you're gonna shape the next generation.
Yeah.
Okay, and if we're not liking the generations that we're having, we have ourselves to blame.
So you mentioned about self-knowledge. What else could women do and mothers do to
seek older women who already acquired these things, because they can't go to their own mothers. It's toxic.
And they can't go to their peers
or their siblings even in some cases.
Oh my God!
And so they need other people who have broken the cycle, that are older, who can provide that guidance.
Yeah.
And fulfill that, that gap in a way, because you need guidance. I mean, we needed it when we were younger. We didn't get it.
Yes.
So we understand that. So you need to seek other mature people with the skills and the knowledge and the wisdom that will help you get there, and people that will respect also. Because if they're peacefully parenting, they will have respect for the younger generations with their needs and wanting to acquire knowledge.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but anyway, we do have a big problem. We have a big problem.
That's affecting our children.
It's affecting our children,
mm-hmm.
And the thing is like I mentioned before, is the infection in our society. Our society is being infected.
Mm-hmm.
Our children go out, and we inoculate them enough, as peaceful parents,
yeah.
as being homeschooling peaceful parents.
They need to not be bonding with their peers.
And the thing is what has happened since the early '80s is this unchecked spread of dysfunction and toxicity. Mm-hmm. And that's what's caused our problem. Now, the reasons for the toxicity and the dysfunction, that can be explored, and there's many inputs into that. But I think recognizing what we have and seeing what the problem is as far as the entire scope, because basically it's affected everyone, mm-hmm. Okay, to certain degrees. Mm-hmm. And so at least we've recognized what that is.
Correct.
Okay?